What's up, everyone? Kevin Wagstaff here with Spectora. Today, we're going to talk about professionalism in the home inspection industry and how you can up your professional game as a home inspector. Associations like InterNACHI have done wonders for the industry in terms of raising the bar for what home inspectors should be and how professional you should be, not only in person, but also online during agent presentations. So today, we're going to talk about a few different ways where you can up your professionalism game and be perceived better in the eyes of agents and clients. I think this is such an important topic for our industry because we have evolved and become more professional as an industry. But when you specifically think about your relationship with agents, this perception change can do wonders for your business. And I think as for our industry as a whole. So when you think of real estate agents, you think of dressed well, they drive nice cars, they really care about how they carry themselves and how they're perceived by buyers. And so by nature, they're going to want to associate with inspectors that are like-minded, that are also professional, that carry themselves a similar way for the most part. And so I think the more you can do that and align with agents, the better off your home inspection business is going to be, the better off your relationships will be. And so let's talk a little bit about on-site demeanor and how professionalism impacts that. So the first thing, obviously, is arriving early to jobs. That's seen as professional. So if you go to any other appointment or any other type of service, if the person you're working with shows up early, that's a good check mark for, okay, they're professional, they're prompt, they know what they're doing. The second thing is proper greetings. I think when we speak to people, we can tend to be more casual sometimes. I think you need to read your audience, know your audience. So if it seems more like a professional, more buttoned up type person, then you want to give a proper greeting, potentially with a last name until they give you permission to use a first name. If it's a younger, more casual person, maybe you can go right to the first name, greeting both parties if it's a husband, wife, or if kids are there. Just being professional in how you greet them in the driveway goes a long way. Same with the real estate agent. Even if it's an agent you've worked with before, you don't want to take that for granted. You always want to have the professional greeting because that sets the tone for your inspection. I think some of the bigger companies, you listen to George Scott on the podcast, they have a driveway speech. That sets the tone for professionalism throughout the whole inspection, and I think goes a long way. So I think it's worth thinking about and evaluating, if you're an experienced inspector, how you greet people when they walk up. Tear it down, start it from the beginning, and ask yourself, what would I want to see from a service professional? Then you can get into the basics of having good eye contact when you're speaking to your clients and agents. That's a big thing on professionalism and confidence and how you're portrayed. Asking questions and listening, being an active listener when you're on site goes a long way for professionalism as well, and lets clients know that you actually care and that you're actually present with that inspection. A professional also allows others to speak and doesn't cut people off. I think that's a big thing we all notice in social situations, but think about it. When you're talking with your clients, give them the space to communicate with you and to speak. And that's just a professional thing. It's something you see in business meetings and in my life as a professional in corporate settings. It's not something you always see with communication in certain industries. And lastly, smile. Being professional doesn't mean you have to be all furrowed brow and serious. I think you can be professional while still having fun. And I think that's the best mix. It's the best mix that makes your clients and agents feel like you're really taking care of them, you're competent, but you're also confident and relaxed in who you are and the service you're providing. And the last point about on-site demeanor is your appearance, how you are dressed. If you listen to the episode of the podcast with Dalen Whitney, he speaks specifically and very intentionally about the types of polos that he purchased for his business when he first started, the quality of the shirt, where the logo is, he got mugs. This is all professionalism stuff. And so when you're doing an agent presentation or you're on site with a client, they do notice if your shirt's tucked in, if it's a quality polo that fits you, the type of clothes you're wearing. So really evaluate everything about yourself because the details do matter. And perception is a very large part of businesses and how people feel about them. So start from the beginning and say, okay, from the ground up, is everything putting off that professional appearance? Because I truly believe these are the factors that separate the men from the boys in this industry. All right, so the next piece of professionalism is not just in person. We can talk about agent presentations and on-site demeanor during an inspection. We could probably drill into these topics a little deeper, but let's go into online professionalism. So the first thing, any communication, whether that's your automated text messages, your emails, need to have proper punctuation and grammar. So I think a lot of inspectors, especially you new ones, will just jump in and use our stock automation and not really go over it. Or you'll go in, type it one time and just let it run for months without evaluating it. So I think it only takes you 10 or 15 minutes to go in, and read your emails, read your texts of what's going out, and make sure there's periods, exclamation points, question marks where there need to be, and that proper grammar is used. I think a good tip is to have someone else read it to give you that second set of eyes to make sure it flows and makes sense and comes off professional. Another professionalism piece that I always notice is your email domain. So everybody should have an email that has their company name in it. So if it's john@professionalhomeinspections.com, that looks so professional. It looks like you have a real company. If it's john369@gmail.com, that kind of puts off this, oh, I'm a part-timer, oh, I'm just kind of a casual home inspector, I don't really have a company. And that's not true, but that's just what it comes off as. So whenever I personally work with a contractor and I see a Gmail or a Yahoo or an AOL, it causes a little pause. And I think you have to think about this as well from your perspective as a consumer. It just makes you wonder if they're truly a company, how long they've been around. It makes you question all kinds of things. So it's a very big professionalism piece. So this isn't even a product pitch. Whether you use Spectora or not, you should be using a custom email domain. So chances are you bought your website domain. So if it's professionalhomeinspectionstennessee.com, you can have an email at that address. And so I think everyone needs to do this. This isn't a moneymaker for Spectora. We don't even make that much on this. It's like in the dollars per year. But I want everyone to have a professional email domain. So I think everyone needs to go to spectora.com/mail. Get your G Suite email set up. It just looks professional. It costs you maybe $1 or $2 a month, a couple bucks a month to have that. But I think it goes a long way perception wise. So again, something we don't even really make money off of, but I think everyone should be doing this. Along those same lines, for those of you that leverage text messaging, I think it's a great idea to have a custom text message number. So when you send out an automated text, I'm navigating to it right now. If you go into settings and text settings, you can get a personal email or a personal text number that you can text back and forth with clients. So it's a personal number. You send the text, they reply, it comes back to you. And so that is just much more professional when someone can respond to your automated text and they actually get sent to you. And that's necessary because of the way text messaging and routing works. $15 a month for that, something to look into, because I know a lot of inspectors get frustrated or they want people to be able to respond to those texts to have that dialogue back and forth, whether it's logistics, questions about the inspection, but another professionalism piece that kind of ties it all together. All right, so that's all I got for professionalism. Let me know if I missed something in the comments. There's probably plenty of areas of just being a professional that I missed, but I just wanted to hit on the main ones and make sure everyone's kind of doing the basics of the on-site presentation, listening, asking questions, smiling, appearance, having a nice polo, having your shirt tucked in or out, whatever you do, just make sure it feels professional. It doesn't have to just be all one way or another, but just reevaluate it. Look in the mirror, think about the way you greet your client and agent when they walk up. I think the first impressions are very important. And then with agent presentations, making sure you greet everybody, you shake hands, you make eye contact, you're dressed appropriately, and you're speaking with good grammar. And so online, I think that translates to punctuation, grammar in your emails and texts. And then you also want to make sure you have your own email domain, so it just presents professionally online, because you don't have the option there to persuade someone or to show your professionalism in person. They just see an email from an email address. So get that and consider the custom text message number. So then when people respond, it comes right back to you and it's a seamless integration there. So, all right, guys, thanks. And we'll see you soon.